All right, let's solve a quadratic equation by factoring. So what is a quadratic equation? That's an equation where the highest exponent is 2. We're used to seeing these kinds of things. 5x squared is in there, but it's gonna have an equal sign. But highest exponent is 2. What is the standard form of a quadratic equation? ax squared plus bx plus c. Example of that would be 2x squared plus 4x plus 2 equals 0. That's a quadratic equation that we can try to solve. How many solutions? So we are used to linear equations or maybe a system of equations where you can have one solution, two solutions, infinite or no solution. Here for quadratic equations, it's simplified into 3 options. There could be one solution, two solutions, or no solutions. All right, let's figure out how to work through these. Solving by factoring. Some quadratics can be solved by factoring. Quadratics that cannot be factored are called prime. We will learn how to solve those a different way as we go through our videos. But for these, we're going to figure out how to do it by factoring, something you should have some familiarity with if you're at this point. So here's the procedure. Make sure you get this down in some way. We're going to add or subtract to get one side equal to 0. We are looking to get that standard form. That's something we really want, and we want it to equal 0. So we may have it in ax squared plus bx plus c form, but if there's anything left over on the right side of the equal sign, we have to get rid of that and make sure that everything's on the left. Then we're going to factor using the steps that we know about. And at the end, we'll set each factor equal to 0 and solve. Those are the main points that we want to make sure that we are working through. This procedure is going to be on the example pages as well. All right, 4x squared minus 52x equals negative 168. All right, so add or subtract to get one side equal to 0. We are not equal to 0 yet. We definitely want that. We want to add 168 here so that we're going to end up with, I'm going to start over here so I have lots of room, 4x squared minus 52x plus 168 equals 0. If I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. Now, our first step has always been to find the greatest common factor. And what's nice when we're doing equations, oh, checklist here, sorry, check here. Make sure the quadratic's in standard form. Ax squared minus 52x plus 168 equals 0. Good. Factor the quadratic using grouping. Well, let's start by, this has a greatest common factor of 4, which is really nice because it's going to simplify our problem for us. X squared minus 13x plus 42. Now, when we've been doing that with factoring expressions, we've had to keep account for that 4. But in this situation, 0 divided by 4 equals 0. So it's literally going away for this equation, right? 0 divided by 4, we've accounted for it on both sides. All right, now let's factor by grouping. Let's use pick a different color here. Our little symbol. We should have 42 on the top, negative 13 on the bottom. What are two numbers that when added together equal negative 13? When multiplied equal positive 42. They're definitely both going to be negative. I think it's negative 6 and negative 7. All right, let's group those. X squared minus 6x minus 7x plus 42. That still equals 0, but for now I'm just going to keep going with this. So I've got x minus 7 on this side, taking out x squared minus 6x, that's going to give me 2x minus 6 and x minus 6. We also have our shortcut because our a value equals 1. This matches with this. Now remember, that still equals 0. We're still dealing with an equation. And the fourth step down here, after we factored quadratic using grouping, set each factor equal to 0 and solve. All right, how are we going to do that? So, the 0 property, these two are being multiplied together. If either of them equals 0, then the equation will be true, no matter what x equals. So we can separate these two and set each of them equal to 0 and solve for x. Here, we're going to add 7 to both sides. X equals 7, and add 6 to both sides. X equals 6. X equals, and if we use this little squiggly here, that shows that it's not like an xy coordinates. It's a range of numbers. In this situation, 6 and 7 are correct solutions for this quadratic equation. All right. So we've gotten some practice with factoring expressions, and now we're working on equations. Hopefully that made some sense. Let's go to a new example. 7x squared equals 30x minus 8. Now, add or subtract to get one side equal to 0. Right now, I don't have one side equal to 0. Technically, I could subtract 7x, but I really want my a value to be positive whenever I can. So I'm going to subtract 30x, subtract 30x and add 8. Oh my goodness. So if I subtract 30x there, that'll clear that out, add the 8 there. We're left with 7x squared minus 30x plus 8 equals 0. All right, I've got one side equal to 0. And make sure the quadratic is in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. That is also a check. Factor the quadratic using grouping. All right, let's use our x here. 7 times 8 is 56, and we've got negative 30. So once again, both those numbers are going to be negative to add to negative 30, multiply together. I think that's going to be negative 28 and negative 2. All right, let's group those together. I'm going to put the negative 28 with the 7 because I like how that's going to work out. Minus 2x plus 8. That does still equal 0, but for the grouping part, this has 7x in common. This has negative 2. We want to keep whatever that term is here. If it's positive, if it's negative, we're going to match that. And here we've got 7x times x minus 4 minus 2x minus 4. 7x minus 2 times x minus 4 equals 0. We've done something right. Factor the quadratic using grouping. Now we can set each factor to 0, and we can press on. So x minus 4 equals 0. That's my easiest one. And 7x minus 2 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides, and x equals 4. So add 2 here. 7x equals 2. Divide both sides by 7. So x is going to equal, a little set here. We always want to put our smallest number first. Positive 2/7, yep. And 4. X is going to equal 2 over 7 and 4. All right. That should be good for that one. Let's do a third example. 25x squared plus 47x minus 60 equals negative 8x. Checklist says add or subtract to get one side equal to 0. So let's add 8x to both sides. And we're going to end up with, move it over here, 25x squared. 47 plus 8 should be 55. Minus 160. Minus 60 equals 0. And remember, make sure the quadratic is in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. Yep. And now we can take out that greatest common factor to both sides. All this is divisible by 5. That left me with 5x squared plus 11x minus 12. And then 0 divided by 5 is 0. All right, let's factor that out. 5 times negative 12 is negative 60. Negative 60. And positive 11 on the bottom. So we're going to need a positive and a negative that multiply to negative 60 and add to 11. I'm going to go 15 and negative 4. So 5x squared plus 15x minus 4x minus 12. Group that. That's going to be 5x and negative 4. What's that going to leave us with? 5x squared by 5x is x plus 3. And minus 4x plus 3. I'm going to erase this page and reset it up so we can set it to 0. So pause if you need to. Alright, so that was our final answer up here. Equals 0. Now we're going to set each of those parentheses is set to 0. 5x minus 4 equals 0. 5x equals 4. So x equals 4/5. And on this one, subtract 3 from both sides. So x is going to equal, squiggly line, negative 3, comma, 4 over 5. Awesome. Make sure you got this stuff down, get your checklist, and like and subscribe. See you in class.